this is the stuff that you're looking for, which is the starter thatch.
It was fun to use and everything, but in the end it just didn't quite hit the mark for me.
They're like, you are killing the grass.
They don't understand. If you're using a Ryobi scarifier, get as low as you can with your scalp, then you're going to be able to get a lot better result.
Definitely not supposed to say that. We didn't say that. Who said that?
I don't think I'm supposed to talk about the
No,
we won't talk
definitely.
about that.
I've never done that on any of my mowers either. All right, this is not a drill. We are giving away $1,000 a week of Stihl tools that you can purchase from any Stihl dealer, your choice. $1,000 voucher of your choice. We're giving one a week away for 5 weeks, starting September 15th. So if you want to get yourself into running, all you have to do is buy the Aussie Green Business Mastery course. If you've been on the fence about buying it, you've been thinking about getting it, now is the time to do it. If you buy before September 15th, you are in the running for all 5. If you've already bought the course, you're already in the running. This is just for anyone who's bought the course. So again, get yourself onto it. There's a link in the description. I'll see you in the podcast. Right, I'm here at one of Australia's favourite lawns with Nick, one of their favourite lawnsmen. How you going, mate?
Lawnsman. G'day, mate. How are you?
And we're going to run through everything you need to know about lawn renovations. We've got the tools out. We're thinking from a contractor's perspective, from my world, because that's what I've been doing for 12 years, and a homeowner's perspective, because you've got just a couple of people who follow you.
Yeah, a couple. So yeah, if you don't know me, I'm the social media flog you might have seen before. Talking a lot about lawn renovations because yeah, it ends up being not a huge bulk of what I actually do, but it's just a topic that people have so many questions about it, and there's so many different aspects to a lawn renovation that there's just so much content to make about it. So I end up talking about it heaps.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hopefully we can run through a few things today.
Also what happens is, by default, from you making videos, those videos do well, and then everyone goes, what do I do with this? And you get inundated with questions.
Yeah.
So why don't we just answer them all?
Yeah, mate, sounds good.
So the first thing is, why would you even need to do this? Because it seems, especially to people Northern Hemisphere, they're using completely different grasses. They're like, you are killing the grass.
They don't understand, do they? You get Americans in the comments, they got no idea. I guess it's all just about making improvements to your lawn. It depends what sort of standard you want to maintain your lawn to. And so if you're listening to this, you're probably interested to some degree. But yeah, whether it's your lawn's overly thick and thatchy and that sort of thing, so you want to scalp it, it's compacted, you've got drainage issues, so you want to aerate. You might want to improve the soil, so if you've got your WA sandy soil, you might want to be adding nutrients.
Yeah.
For me, when I moved into this lawn at this time, our first winter in this place was really soggy and damp, so I've done lots of sand top dressing to make it a sandier profile for better drainage along with aeration. So it's just about making improvements, and obviously the thickness, the thatch builds up over time, so it's a constant sort of process, and it's just about maintaining to a better standard really.
Let's try and show you what thatch is. Let's show what it isn't, even if you can come over here, because this is the number one thing that I get, because people message me and they go, I want you to vertimow my lawn, and for us as contractors, they might be talking about, like, say $1,000 or more, depending on how big the yard is, and I don't want them to spend that money unnecessarily. So I go, do you need it? Here's some questions we would ask. We go, like, is your lawn spongy, like, to stand on? Yours isn't at all.
Yep.
Like, you've done a really good job. Like, this is kaikuyu. People don't understand how hard it is to keep it not spongy.
Yep.
But if I come in here and I try and pull this apart, like, there's nothing really to pull apart. And this is the end of winter, so your colour might be a little bit lower, but I'm not looking at this going like if you were my client, I'd go, I'm not charging you.
Yeah.
But if we went over here to the buffalo, again, it's not really thatchy, but we can start to show people what maybe is the starting signs of what at least they can indicate if it's even worth putting all that effort and money in.
And this current state of my kaikuyu is because, Feb, I scalped to the dirt, scarified it, really cleared it out, and something, it depends on your grass variety too, doesn't it? Like a kaikuyu or cooch, when you want a cylinder mow, really at least once a season, you are going to want to do that, a really heavy scalp scarify to be cylinder mowing, not having your mower float up on the surface and that kind of thing. So it's just a goal thing as well. If you want a rotary mow, nice and tall and you're not too fussed, then you can probably get away without doing it as frequently. But
which is pretty much what you've done here.
Yeah, this buffalo section.
I also feel like I've gotten down too early.
I'll come down.
Will you marry me, Nick?
So yeah, this buffalo was installed first week of summer last year. So I'm planning on a big reno on it start of October. Get some content done nice and early in the season on it. But yeah, it is quite thick, and you can see some of this straw-like sort of stuff in here. Definitely being its first winter, it's struggled a lot more.
Yeah.
And we've had a really, probably 7 or 8 frosts now.
Well, I was going to show this because if people go, if they're looking at their buffalo and they go, this purple kind of leaf,
Yep.
that's always a sign of stress. You know it's the frost.
Yep.
And so if everyone's like, why is my lawn not so green? You know, what product can I put down to stop this? It's like, not really anything. It's just, it's gotten too cold. These are the warm season grass. They don't like the cold.
You can put down sun.
Yeah. Do you have a large outdoor heater?
Yeah.
And $40,000 the energy it costs.
Yeah, that's all. That's
but
all
this here, there's a little bit of this kind of matter in there.
Yeah,
and
a bit of junk.
There's not much, right? It's really not bad. This is a bit more. It's soft, but it's not spongy. It's hard to describe. But this is the stuff that you're looking for, which is the start of thatch. And what happens with this? Essentially, you have runners. Can I pull one out, Nick? Would you forgive me?
I'll be doing it anyway. There's a little bit.
So the runners that grow like this. So this is called a stolon, on the ground.
Stolon.
Right. Yes, I say it funny to remember. But stolons go on the ground, rhizomes go under the ground. But these runners, they will grow on top of each other over time. And once they suffocate the one underneath out, which is what you were seeing with some of those dead leaves that I was pulling out, you start getting that thatch because they just die. They've gotten suffocated from light, everything else. And then eventually over time, there's nothing you can do to stop this. This is just normal grass.
Yep.
You have such a thick thatch layer that it prevents water, mostly water, from actually getting down, a little bit of nutrients, and obviously creates that spongy look. And the two bad things that happen with that, well, three. One is the water doesn't get to the soil it needs. The second thing is that layer stays damp, so you get more fungal issues. And the worst one, from an aesthetic point of view, is it's so easy to scalp.
Yep. Should we go into scalping then? I feel like we're at risk of going for 4 hours here.
We are.
To start the process of a reno, yeah, you want to cut back your top growth, don't you? So I've got here a few different options. So firstly, this utility mower is something that I invested in last season. So I guess in terms of a scalp, it's just cutting down your top growth, isn't it?
So why am I getting this over this? Because you've already got a mower, and for the untrained eye, the homeowner who's got no idea what's going on, they're like, these are mowers.
Yeah. Yep.
What are they doing that's different?
Yeah, so utility mower, yeah, I got this one on Facebook Marketplace, and it's just meant to be a real weapon. It's not a maintenance mower, it's a real weapon of a thing to come and just really aggressively get down and cut away your top growth off the top of the surface. I found this exact machine actually didn't do that good of a job, especially out here on 470 square meters of kike. It really shows up if something does the job or not. So yeah, you could look into getting something like this. It was fun to use and everything, but in the end, it just didn't quite hit the mark for me. If you do get one, I think as a contractor, do you use this or do you use just exclusively cylinders to scalp?
We will scalp down to a certain point with a rotary, but our finishing cut, the lowest cut, is with this.
Yeah, cool.
But if I was a homeowner, I've heard that the big bobs,
yes,
which is a different model. I think Ben Sims got one. I think Brenton from the Aussie lawn.
Yep.
Brenton told me the secret is you got to drill in an extra hole.
But I think
Another
you're not
one
supposed
to
to say that.
We're definitely not supposed to say that. We didn't say that. Who said that?
I don't think I'm supposed to talk about how I use the grinder to cut the front. Don't.
No,
we won't talk
definitely.
about that.
I've never done that on any of my mowers either.
So this rotary mower here is what I use for a lot of my renos early on. So it's something to look into if you're buying a mower for your business or for home. Is that these mass boards, this cuts down to 7 mil. So yeah, look into your battery mowers and things like that will cut to about 25, which is probably 25, 30 is what a lot of people are maintaining their Cooch and Kikuyu with. So it's not the battery stuff low enough to scalp. So to look into your height range is a really good thing to do. So this was serviceable, this rotary. I don't really have as much of a use for it anymore because I've just been using in recent renos, the Mowmaster. So yeah, just being able to, for me, slowly drop the height, normally maintain around 20 mil so I can get nicer stripes. So yeah, sort of go sort of 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, whatever, then bring in scarifying to get it nice and low because I want this kike as low as possible when I reno. And for me, the cylinder has been by far the best scalping machine that I've used.
So if I can summarise everything really quickly, you see that thatch build up over there. we want to get rid of it. The way you get rid of it is cutting it out.
Yep.
You can buy one of these if you so desire. You can probably get away with this as long as it goes low enough. Now, some battery mowers don't. We can probably talk about that a little bit later. But you found that you've got a dedicated cylinder mower, and you found that the most successful thing for you, especially on a large thing, and this is a very expensive mower with a massive engine.
Yep.
But that you can lower it down one step at a time.
Yeah.
But what I would say is if you are like super on a budget and you literally do not want to spend any more money than the mower you already have, you could just do that. Even if it was really weak and it was stalling, it's really thatchy, it's just going to take you forever.
Well, that's what I did with my very first mower, which was a real antique. It was not a lot of grunt in it, but I was cutting, let's just say it was on a number 6, height number 6, and then I went 5 and mowed it twice, and then I went a 4 and mowed it twice, and then I went a 3 and mowed it 2 or 3 times, just really slowly, you know, not efficient. You wouldn't be wanting to do that as sort of, you know, a business model, because it would just take you hours and hours and hours, but it was effective to be able to chop through it slowly. And I think another thing with scalping, even if you're not going right down to the dirt, but just removing some of the top growth, it is going to help you to be able to get better cores, because you're getting closer to the ground. And also when you then come later on to top dressing, it'll show up your low spots better if you've scalped.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you're only going down, say, 2 notches and just bruising it up a little bit, it's a good part to have into the process for sure.
So your process, and we're mostly going to be helping out the average punter here, but your process is that you're scalping down first.
Yep.
And the reason is that the machines that a professional like us would use are so expensive that we can vertimow first, we can scarify first, but that's out of most people's league.
Well, let's move down to the little right.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
Bring this in.
Because so many people use this.
Yep.
I used one of these when they first came out. This is years ago, and I did a video comparing it to, this is before I even had a podcast. I put it on WA Lawn Axe. We compared this to a Mowmaster scarifier.
So let's compare a Ferrari and a Matchbox car.
Yeah. It's sort of what's happening, but there is a way to use it. It's funny, like, you've come to exactly the same conclusion that we came to, because these are actually really useful.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you've got to use it the right way. So what is it?
Well, yeah, so this Ryobi scarifier here, so if anyone's not, if you are watching, you can see, but we've got these vertical blades on here, so you can get, like the Mowmaster cylinder I've got here, you can get Mowmaster verti cutters, so it's just digging down vertically. Obviously with our normal mowers are going horizontally.
Yeah.
These go vertically down to be able to get into that thatch layer.
Yeah, those runners,
rip that up.
Those runners, it's pulling them up.
Yeah.
And it helps you get more of it.
Absolutely. So I've toyed around with this a lot, and I've used it as step 1 in a reno to try and break through that top canopy to make it easier to then scalp. And I've used it at different stages, as well as some petrol machines that I've sort of hired from Kennards and stuff before too. And so yeah, when you've got those big, heavy petrol machines, you can use those first to really make a mess of it, and then come through and start to scalp. If you are going to, if you're more DIY focused, definitely to start with, if you're using a Ryobi scarifier, get as low as you can, or any of these battery ones, get as low as you can with your scalp, then you're going to be able to get a lot better result. These will do an effective job. I really like these for maintenance during the season as well, as you've spoken about before, as like a groomer. So I'll use that kind of every 3 or so weeks just to come through, clean it up, pull out some of that junk, just to keep a nice consistent surface throughout the season. And that works really, really well. But yeah, as part of a reno, if you're trying to get really low, definitely use it once your scalp's nice and low.
So like that is the point to me. If you've invested in this and you like tickle it every couple of weeks, you're stopping those runners from actually suffocating each other before the thatch even happens. And this is the thing that, I mean, again, maybe it doesn't frustrate me, but I see people who invest in this and they use it once a year, and I'm like, it's not where it's best. You have the machine, and it is so easy, and you find that you probably don't necessarily need to do a full reno, maybe just a little height reset.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it too. Like for me, so if let's just say, for example, first week of October, I do a full reno. So I've got recovery by the end of October. By like mid to late November, I'll be starting to use this again, just to stay on top of it every sort of, 3 weeks or so, to keep it nice. I don't want to let it get to a point where the mower's floating around, it's getting overly thick. I'm like, because then you sort of need a reset, you need a bit more intervention to get it back to where it was. Whereas if you just stay on top of it,
Yeah.
you keep a much nicer surface. So yeah, definitely useful though, those machines.
That if I'm summarising this section of it, right, what I'm going to say is the first cut is the most exhaustive on your machines.
Yeah.
Use whatever has the biggest motor that you can get. If you can go out and hire something with a massive, massive vertimower, you can get into it. If you can get a professional machine, but most people, if they've got like this is their partnership because that's what budget allows.
Yep.
This he's going to really struggle. But you can slowly lower down, and then eventually, finally, you're finishing with this to get that vertical growth out. Anything I missed?
No, not really. I think it's just, to be honest, trial and error as well. Like depending on your lawn variety, we're probably more targeting this chat about warm season grasses, but it depends on cool season and stuff as well, and how thick your lawn is, and just what you've got access to. And so, yeah, muck around with it. Like try your scarifier first, try your rotary, see if you can borrow something from a neighbour or a mate or whatever it may be. Look into what hiring options are in your area, just to find your most efficient process. I'm pretty comfortable now with the process I've got with, really relying on that that MoMaster a lot to scalp down, and just sort of go from there and trial and error.
Can you go too hard? Can I go too hard on my lawn or rip too much of the top off?
So you definitely can't. So a couple of examples I've had. So out the front with the old kikuyu that was there, the edges were really raised, like sitting up above the concrete. So I came with a shovel and hacked them away, and then the kikuyu came back through.
Kikuyu, I guess.
Yep, and then same over there in that buffalo section when it was kikuyu, I've scraped it out with an excavator.
True.
And then fertilised with urea and just let it sit. We went away for a week or so, come back and there's little shoots of kikuyu. So those root systems are so deep, you cannot kill kikuyu and cooch with your mowers.
Well,
There's
you were digging up, fertilising it to try and encourage that growth because you knew it was going to come up.
To then spray again 2 or 3 more times. So you cannot kill that stuff. Buffalo though, for example, I think a lot of people freak out about it. That's sort of the general vibe, isn't it? People are really scared about scalping too low, which you definitely can do. If you remove all of that top growth, it's not going to come back up. But yeah.
Well, I would say this goes back to that conversation. You've got stolons on the surface, rhizomes underneath. Kikuyu and cooch have them underneath.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of everything off the surface. And if it's really thick and healthy, it won't take long for it to come back. If it's a little bit sparse, it might take longer, but it will come back because there is stuff under the surface and sometimes really deep. With the buffalo, because it's just on the surface, you just need something left on the surface, just a little bit. And it's a little trickier, but again, if you've got this and you're like, oh, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious and maybe in 3 months I might do it again, and you've got this all the time. There's a little bit less pressure to get it right the first time.
Well, I'm even thinking when I come to reno that buffalo that I might just use because that's 60 mil or so at the moment, I might just use Ryobi first to scarify over it and thin it out a little bit. But yeah, you definitely, even on turf farms, they'll come and they'll literally scrape a whole roll of turf with the soil, and then, the the cooch just comes back up and through. Whereas with buffalo, they leave what's called ribbons. So they'll leave a strip, and then that strip will then spread back across, fill in for that paddock to then be able to be harvested again. So it's just understanding if you do have a buffalo lawn, definitely be a little bit more cautious. And if you're a contractor, you obviously don't want to go and annihilate someone's buffalo and it doesn't come back. That's not great for business.
No, definitely not.
Know your lawn type.
You'd be out of business. It's terrible for business. I would say the biggest mistake, or maybe not the biggest, one coming up is probably a little bit bigger that people do, but when you don't go hard enough on kikuyu, you really regret it because it grows so aggressively and it comes back. Cooch maybe not so much, but for kikuyu lawns, beginners, I've seen this on the WA Lawn X page, Lawn Fanatics and stuff. Someone's like, oh, I renovated this back in September and it's January, and the thing is a thatch monster again. And it's you didn't go hard enough, mate.
And especially if people are feeding, well, it's probably a different conversation, but feeding with too much nitrogen and really pumping it with stuff,
Do you like to do anything before you do the reno to prepare it?
Yeah, so right now is preventative season. Getting down the acelepryn for grub prevention, and then Spartan or barricade for weed prevention. So yeah, I'm waiting on my acelepryn to arrive. Basically, if you check the label across the country, sort of that August time slot. you want to get it down a little bit earlier for warmer climates and that sort of thing. So yeah, get those preventatives down. My soil temp is a bit cool at the moment. We've just had a little stretch of kind of high teens.
Well, how
so
do you know what your soil temp is, just to start with?
Well, I've got a probe in the shed, but yeah, so you want to go down about 100 mil. For consistency, you want to test at about 9 a.m. I believe. So
what temperatures are we looking for?
Well, I've always gone off about, I really heavily looked into it a couple of years ago, and the most, everywhere says different, but the most consistent sort of number I saw was about 17 for granular fertilizer being able to be broken down properly in the soil. So 17 is what I really go for, and look, Ben in his video on the weekend said 16. I've seen before 14, you know, cool season grasses is about 10, I believe. So yeah, anyway.
So if you're 18, 19, you're safe. You're definitely safe. The
keep
warmer
goals.
it is, the better.
Yeah. But even if we're sort of getting to this stage of the year, for me right now, we've had a couple of nice days, and if there's kind of another early 20 in the forecast, and we're kind of in that 15, 16 hovering range, I also want to get the content up for people as well. So I'll sort of probably look to in the next week or two get some out, because it's going to be, you know, start to get broken down. The temps are only going to increase. They're definitely increasing at this time of year, obviously, compared to autumn. We want to, you know, be a little bit more onto it with that. But yeah, so getting preventatives, getting some fertilizer down, get it growing. And a lot of people are concerned, I think, with digging up the product when they go and do a reno. I think some people will say sort of a week. Well, I feel really good having nothing sort of within 2 weeks. Like to get it on the soil, get it really well absorbed in there, everything broken down, and then go for your reno. That's just a personal sort of thing. I don't know about you.
No, I think it's good.
About 2 weeks.
Well, for us, it's a little bit harder because we don't necessarily control everything that's happening before. If we got a regular client, we would do it. But if a client's just caught up and they're like, oh, we want a reno, you know, when can you fit us in? Maybe you don't have that control. But like, I just want to spell something out for people, because if they go, oh, why does the temperature matter? Let's say you're brand new to this. Warm season grasses just like it when it's warm. Kikuyu, cooch, buffalo, it's the most simple way you can put it. And so when it's warm, they grow more vigorously. If you go too early, and I see this on some pages as well, you go too early, it'll recover, but it might take 6 weeks. And literally sometimes, if you just waited 3 weeks, it would take 3.5 weeks. You've got your lawn back 1 week or half a week later, because you did it, you know, when it was appropriate. Doing it earlier doesn't mean you get your lawn back earlier. Sometimes.
When would you normally do your first one for Silverstone?
Well, this is the other thing that people get wrong, is that we are weird in Australia in that we call September the 1st the start of spring. Most people are going off the equinox, right, which is about September 15th, I think, from memory, or maybe even 20th or roughly, but middle of September. We will do them early, but we won't do buffalo till October, because buffalo takes longer to get out. And again, like, because we're charging, if it was my home lawn, I'd do it because I'm in control. But I don't want to have somebody wait 5 weeks to get their lawn back. You know, I'm charging a lot of money for it. I want to give them the best option they've got. But I'm happy to wait until mid-September, October. And, you know, some guys are flat off their feet doing it all the time. We don't do it 24/7. Those guys might be starting today, you know, whether August 24th. Tell the client it'll take longer. They don't care. It gets done. That's just like, if I'm choosing for my own yard, I'm probably waiting until mid-September, October.
Cool. So yeah, for us here, Southeast Victoria, like September, you can do it. It's going to take a while to recover though. We're here with a week until September starts, and this is like barely growing. I think I mowed it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
It's, you know, it's just about to turn the corner coming into September, and we normally get a good 30 in there somewhere in September. But I'd say not in September. October is good, and it's going to recover quickly, and the weather's getting better. I reckon though our premium month for recovery in spring is definitely November. Once it's getting a bit warmer, even into December. You haven't got quite that extreme temperatures to kind of contend with, even though obviously warm season grasses love it. But yeah, you sort of, if you can hold off a little bit into October here, you're going to get a really good recovery. And it just depends too, like if it's a front yard, and that's where people might prioritise, do your front yard, I don't know, mid-September, early September, and it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks. But if you've got your backyard where the kids want to play and all that sort of stuff as well, maybe you will wait until mid-October and that kind of thing, a little bit later in the season. Let it really get firing. You've got, you know, a few liquid applications, maybe come up to your second granular, so then it will bounce back. So it's probably what the purpose of the lawn is as well, I think.
And we're getting real nerdy here. I'll try and say this quickly because we might put people to sleep. I think what you did by verti-mowing in February is super underrated. I reckon February, March is a fantastic window. And a lot of people, they get nervous. It's like they feel like spring is the only time they can do it. As long as you're getting, on a warm season grass, as long as you're getting enough water, it can be in the 40s and you're fine. And we know that because it's often in the 40s in WA. Like it's almost always there in summer. And there will be contractors out there on a 40-degree day verti-mowing a lawn. You just give it water, it comes back. Actually, sometimes super quick. But the reason why I like a late reno, just talking about timing, probably not after March, unless you got experience and you know what it's like. Maybe like sort of mid-March, maybe that's the last you want to do. But the reason I really like it is if you have a really wet climate like you got here, like we were seeing a little bit of mycelium, which is the start of a fungal issue.
Don't expose me, Luke.
It just happens in winter, man. Like I can't, like, it's like the frost, right?
That's it.
It's not that anyone's doing anything wrong. But when you've got a lot of thatch heading into winter, you will get fungal issues because it will stay damp, and constant dampness is the issue. And I feel like a lot of people, they get to September and they go, oh, I want to do it, I'm too busy. December comes and they go, oh, I've missed my window. It's like, no, man, you can keep going. And in fact, sometimes, depending on where you are, the later you do it, the better it is for your condition.
100%. Like, so this is our third winter in this house. So we moved in October. I did a full reno in the January. So it was kind of like by March, Feb, it was like just recovering sort of thing. So I didn't do anything else to it. But that winter, like I said before, it was really soggy and damp in the soil. And it was also then kind of July, August, like just getting really floaty and just painful to mow.
Hard to mow straight.
Yeah, really hard to hold straight lines, and it was really frustrating. So then I did the next late summer. So I finished top dressing on March the 1st, did a full reno at the end of summer. And then obviously the season just gone, I did a full scalp and scarify. So no core and top dress, sort of just half a reno. And the 2 winters that I've had, the last 2 winters, it's still got time to build up a healthy thatch layer. We probably shouldn't go into that and confuse and make it too. It's kind of like, we want to remove all the thatch, but you still want a little healthy thatch layer.
Yeah, we're anyway. Out too much.
But yeah, so having that really big clean out has meant my winters have been a lot nicer coming into spring. And I'm not like hanging out for a scalp and scarify, but it definitely just maintains it and has it so much nicer and not that thickness and everything throughout winter. So yeah, timing, important.
Okay, we do need to move on. Oh, it's been 6 hours long.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You want to talk about coring?
Except I'm going to fly.
So we talk about aeration. So we've now scalped, scarified. We move on to aeration. So why do we aerate?
Okay, very, very quickly. Root growth.
Oh, Luke.
This is as quick as I can do it. Root growth correlates really well with soil compaction.
Yeah.
The healthier your roots are, the better your lawn is. So really hard soil is hard for roots to grow in.
Yep.
Right. We also want the oxygen down to the roots. Soggy soil, terrible soil, and nutrients, water, things like that.
I thought you were going to go into a way more waffly answer.
No. But I think the root growth conversation isn't talked about enough. I would actually put that as number one.
Yeah, just opening up that soil to allow a bit of space down there.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, so for me, like I said, the sogginess through winter. So yeah, to be able to pull out material, I think it's that's probably the 2 main things as to whether you're trying to open up compaction in the soil, but also if you wanted to then top dress into those core holes to improve your soil. So I've wanted to improve my soil in the way of making it sandier. So adding wash sands. We probably won't go into the top dressing stuff right now, but opening up the soil to be able to get sand in there to make it a sandier, more sandy loam sort of profile. Like if you get a shovel in here and you dig it up, go down 100, 150 mil and you'll get some decent clay throughout most of this area. So it's a really rich, heavy soil naturally here, which you would not be familiar with at all.
No, I'm used to beach sand.
Yep.
Very long distances from the beach.
Yes. So yeah, for me, that's been a focus. Leveling as well. Whereas, probably on my front yard is a mistake I made it was really infertile, just crap lawn, poor soil. And so in hindsight, we've been adding more compost in that situation. So if you're dealing with a situation where it's struggling to grow, it's really infertile, wispy, crappy stuff, get a fertilizer program onto it, water it, all that sort of thing. But also what you top dress with, if it's organic, it's nutrient rich, is going to help to grow a more vigorous lawn. And then you can maybe focus on your sand and your sandy loam for top dressing and leveling later down the track. You want to improve your soil first. But yeah, sand out the back here for a more free draining profiles is what's worked really well here, but you're using more compost in
Yeah.
your renos in WA?
There's a Goldilocks zone. Lawn hates wet feet, constantly being damp, which is your problem. Lawns also hate drying out.
Yep.
When you have, you want to get that free flowing, all we have is that free flowing. So the water just goes straight through the profile, and one of the best things to hold on to water is compost. So that's the simple way of talking about it.
Yeah.
I push this in, this is really easy.
Yep.
So I can tell that like you've been doing this, and I'm not just saying this because I'm your mate and we're here in front of you. Oh, look at that, I can see the sand that you've been putting in.
Yeah, do you want to come in on that? Zoom in. So yeah, you can see how nice and sandy that is now. You can see that rich soil down the bottom there, which, what is that, probably 80 to 100 mil down.
And that's
when you start
perfect.
getting to that.
Have you top dressed your garden beds at all?
I have, so...
Could we get a view of what your native soil is if we take a core out of that?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, we should be able to.
We should be able to.
If you go in between the trees, because when I've planted those trees, I've dug it out, all of the heavy soil that was in there, because all the trees flooded in there when we first moved in. So yeah, I've been adding in there a bit of sand into the base of the holes and then some
About
soil
here?
and yeah, go there, go for it.
So it's going to eject out a little bit of what was in there before. I mean, I can just see. I don't even need to do this. If I look at that,
That's heavy soil, isn't it?
there is a heavy clayey soil.
Yep.
If I push this in, it's a little bit harder to push in, but I can see, there we go, there's a comparison. So what you've done over the last 3 years, like that is visually, straight away we can see that it's benefiting.
Yep.
Because this will hold on to a little bit too much moisture. And this is why people get confused. Because some people they oversimplify it. And someone in my world will go, oh, you need to add heaps of compost. We need to hold on to water. No, you're the opposite.
Yep.
You've got too much water and you've done the right thing.
And that's where too, it's probably good to, if you are moved into a new place or if you're at a new client or something like that, to just get a shovel, get an aerator, dig up a bit to see what the native soil is like first before you then decide on what you're going to order and top dress with. But
I'm going to show them this. Will you forgive me?
yeah, sure. Sure,
This
you can
is
see the
mycelium.
singed, frost tips as well. but-
This right here is mycelium. This is the start of a fungal issue. Now, I don't see any visible signs. It's not the end of the world if you see this. This is actually why you see guys on Instagram or whatever, like
Removing
Mick.
the dew.
Mick
Yep.
does this all the time. He'll remove the dew because the more wet the leaf surface is, the more of this you get. Brush it off, he's gone. But the more wet your soil is, the more of that you would get. So if we were to somehow time travel and run an A/B test, my feeling is if you hadn't have done that top dressing, would have more mycelium, and maybe you would get to the point where the stress of this is too much. Have you put any fungicides down?
I did just before Grace was born, so yeah, probably 3 months ago.
Right. So, I mean, that shows you, and what once?
Yeah,
Preventative or
so
curative?
that was leaf spot, that was Impala, and so I really probably needed a follow-up application, but yeah, newborn and stuff like that just hasn't happened. So I've just been sort of relying on spring kicking in and fixing some of my issues. But yeah, definitely something to be vigilant of around Reno time is any fungal or
But this
disease or
is
issues.
what I'm saying is this is not a problem. It just is there,
Yeah, just
and a little bit of fungal stuff. It's like, man, that's just life.
yeah,
you
just
know?
to watch.
At least that's what I tell my wife. So she doesn't call it divorce lawyer.
So in terms of tools for aerating,
he's moved
so
on. He wants me to stay married.
I don't want to hear about your fungal issues. So in terms of tools, so what have we got here? We've got a pitchfork and we've got a hand corer.
Can I run through something real quickly? I did a video on this.
Yeah.
So very quickly, I did a video where we tested everything from the little sandals, these guys, this style, not as good as this one, but all the way up to the billy goats, the bluebirds, the pro course that they're using on golf course, and even a tractor with a vertidrain, $70,000 machine. This guy was punching so high above his weight. And if you're on a budget and you don't need to fill the holes in, that's the only downside because it doesn't create holes.
Yep.
Simply shoving him in and giving a little bit of a tilt back, it's a $15 garden fork, was almost as good. It was third place.
Yep.
The only thing that beat it was 50 or 70 grand.
Yep, there you go. So yeah, like in terms of manual tools, so Yeah, it's obviously a bit of a workout. Have you manually cored a full lawn before? Or?
No,
No?
I'm sane.
Yep, yeah, fair
I have
call.
sanity.
So that buffalo, you can just tell that any sort of machine in there with the rounded corners and stuff, it would be an annoying spot to try and use a machine anyway. But for me, I've manually cored that a couple of times. Just with the heat of summer, some of the compaction that happened with the baking soil underneath there in my prep time. But yeah, I've manually cored it a couple of times. I'm pretty fit. Took me about an hour and a half for 70 square meters. So yeah, definitely a workout if you're gonna do it. I think
I wouldn't be doing this with that.
Oh God, no.
I'm just saying, if you literally are tight on money and you're good with your biceps, there you go.
And your shoulders and your everything.
Yeah,
but I
and
think
your mental discipline.
it's something like my best mate, he got one. He's got like 200 squares or something, and I was like, mate, break it up. Do like 30 squares at a time or something like that. Like come out after breakfast, do 30 squares, you know, go do grocery shopping, do whatever, walk the dog, come back, do another 30, then have lunch, and then another 30 after. Like break it up, I think is a good way to go, unless you're a lunatic and training for something and just want to smash it all out. But for reference, we're talking sort of a square meter every 2 minutes for me over there. So it's definitely a workout.
Super, yeah.
Mechanically, you've got a couple of options in terms of aerators. So you've got the drum style Bluebird Kennard's aerator, which people talk to Brenton about them. He's a fan, isn't he? But yeah, they're definitely not the best aerators on the market, are they? But they do a job.
They're way better than doing this manually on this size.
Or sandals. Aeration sandals.
Oh, Aeration. Did never buy Aeration sandals. Right. I've just ruined any sponsorship opportunity with that company, but or multiple that make them. But one of the things I would say is if you're hiring a machine, right? Like let's say we're hiring a machine for this, you don't actually just have to go over it once. You have the machine for the half day or the full day.
Yep.
And going over it twice, depending on how bad it is, maybe 3 times. Like just do it.
Yeah.
Because you already have the machine.
Yep. It's something I'll do because in comparison to say a billy goat or a paddock or whatever, you won't get as deep a cores with the Bluebird. So I will generally go over it twice and just pull out tons of cores and open up heaps of space in there. So for sure, I think aeration in general is like if it's never been done, then definitely do it. If you're listening to this and you've never, renoed before, definitely do it. If you've got a client's lawn that's never been done before, it's really beneficial in so many ways. But it's probably a part of the process where once you're at a certain point, like for me, I'm like, oh, I could aerate this spring, but for all those things I've talked about, it's at a pretty good point in terms of the soil and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we can see it's in your soils. It's probably a good profile now.
I'm pretty happy. So I'm like, do you know what? It's sort of for me now, like the scalping, the scarifier and the cylinder mowing is always a given. But in terms of aerating and like how level it is when we talk about top dressing, like it's at a pretty good state now. It's like, every 2 years just as like a maintenance thing, but I'm not having huge amounts of traffic on here for compaction and all that sort of stuff. So you can sort of start to stretch it out to every 2 years or something like that once you're at a certain point with your soil.
I'll just touch on on a professional level because we've got the machine. So what we actually do is we get it to a point where we're happy with it, so like with this, and we actually move from the core tines then to a solid tine.
Yearly?
Maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay, yep.
On the higher end packages that we do.
Yeah, yep.
Because we've already got the machine, we've got a paying client, it's actually not that much more expensive to us to do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more effort if you've got to go hire it and you don't have a trailer and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the reason that we do the solid tines once it's at a good point is because it doesn't open up as big of a hole, and it's not great to be doing massive holes in the ground unless you're watering a lot, like through a 40-degree heat wave, because it makes the soil dry out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you've got, it's like kind of like that little Ryobi scarifier. Like if you've got the machine, like you should use it more regularly. Why not?
Yeah.
You're not hurting the lawn. But if you are going to do it more regularly, I'd move to a solid tine if you can get it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's just the thing, isn't it? It's like access. Like when you had BJ on the other week, he was saying about when they do it, they go and hire one. So it's like, as you say, more of an effort. It's part of the whole process, in terms of cost and everything. When you start to, you need to go pick it up, you need a tow ball, you need to, all that sort of thing.
It's kind of like, it's like the 80-20 rule. Like there's a few practices that get you 80% of the way, and then you double it, and it's reduced, diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And this is what I feel like what you guys do on a homeowner level can get you so close to what a golf course might be doing. They've just got the $50,000 machine that they bought, so let's use it all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
It's not actually something you need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we talk about the? Sorry, you were going to say something.
I think it's just if you're early on, if it's a lawn that's never been done before, I think it's something I'm like, definitely do it. You know, it'll really have a benefit. But yeah, as you say, once you're at a certain point, it's been done multiple times and that sort of thing, you're probably good to skip it. Top dressing?
Yeah. How long have you? How many times have you done this? Look at that. That's another great comparison of like your native soil.
Yeah. Yep.
Versus what you've done.
The sandiness. I have top dressed this, I reckon, 4 times. So yeah, up there.
In 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, coming up to 3. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Do you think you're gonna keep doing it at that rate, or you're at a point where you're actually pretty happy?
In terms of levelness, I'll probably, my next top dress would be a light one. More like for 470 squares, more like 2 cube across the whole thing, whereas my previous ones have been like 5 cube, like, 1 cube per 100 square meters. So it'd be a light one, and more so just like lowering the crowns of the kikuyu and just kind of, a light top dress in that sense. I definitely won't need a heavy top dress on here again.
I just want to say one thing, which I think is top dressing is pretty self-explanatory. Putting stuff over the surface. We already talked about the soil, sand if it's wet, compost if you've got a lot of sand already. What I would say though is that a big mistake we see a lot in WA. What the old timers used to do is they used to not do the scarification or the scalping, and they top dress on top of the thatch.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is one of the worst things you can do. I said before, I was like, oh, this is the biggest mistake. And then I thought, no, this is the biggest mistake.
But wait.
Because what happens is, it is so hard to get rid of that sponginess once it's deep in the surface. Like even the commercial machines, they may be getting 6 centimeters deep, roughly that. So if you've been doing it for years, which some of these guys are, you will literally see like the ground is raised because every single year they've added another centimeter.
Yeah.
It's 15 years later, a little bit of degrading. You got 10 to 15 centimeters of extra height, and it's all thatch, and it's so hard to get out. And it's like, it's just, I see people do it every now and then. I think that people have been educated to now, but you are shooting yourself in the foot. Like, don't cut the corner, do it properly. Scalp, get it down. And like you said earlier, it's like it's easier to see a level. It's way easier to do as a job because you're not pushing it against some thatch as well. So that's my rant.
Yep, that's it. Well, yeah, so I guess in terms of top dressing, the purpose of it is leveling or improving your soil. So we've touched on that enough, I think, improving the soil. In terms of leveling, again, if you've moved into a new place, like a lot of us who are cylinder mowing are leveling to a meticulous degree. Tiny little bumps, we want it really flat, really smooth surface to get clean, consistent cut, clean, consistent stripes and all that sort of thing. Really, for most places, get one good top dress on it, level a lot of those main bumps, and you're going to be pretty sweet for then to just carry on with your rotary mowing and that sort of thing from then on. It just depends your goals with the lawn, but yeah, that's the main sort of purpose of it, is that leveling and that soil improvement. So you got sand versus soil, so you want to get the cleanest sort of material you can. It's not going to bring in a lot of weed seeds, which is probably something you get at a fair bit with your compost over there, or you do.
You do.
That you
it's almost unavoidable.
Yep.
Wash sand, no seeds.
Yeah. Yep.
But then again, it's not necessarily a problem if you know how to spray it out. That's a whole different conversation though.
Yeah, but I guess when if you're trying to minimise your spraying and all that sort of stuff too, it's like, cool if you can get a nice clean washed sand. So some places I find it's frustrating, they call the same thing different names. Maybe that's just a thing in Victoria, but yeah, sometimes it's just the same sort of material. But basically you want something that's not super coarse and thick particles, and you don't want something that's ultra fine. Like I think like a plasterer's kind of sand, ultra fine, and it'll just like clag together if you ball it up in your hand and have it wet. So
because remember, like we're talking about, we want the drainage.
Yes.
And that the finer particles stop that drainage.
Yes. Yep. So around here it's called sort of triple wash sand, play sand, things like that.
Some people call it river sand or...
Yeah. Yep. So something along those lines. I think Something I'm starting to lean a bit more towards is saying, just advising people on a good quality sandy loam, or like a lawn mix or something like that is generally what it's called. So it's a bit safer in terms of trying to give broad advice to large audiences, is that, you know, if you can get a really good quality sandy loam, you're going to be ticking a lot of boxes. You know, it's going to be pretty safe, good sand content to improve your drainage. There's going to be, some good nutrients into it as well, so you're not going to be using it in the wrong sort of scenario, where maybe a heavy sand top dress is actually detrimental, because you do see that from time to time.
You can't go too heavy on a top dress. And I find about 3 centimeters is, I mean, even that's getting a little bit too deep. And the reason why you would do that is if you had a big dip, right? You'd never put 3 centimeters over the whole lawn. But if you do have a big dip, you're actually, when it's deeper than that, 2 centimeters, you're probably fine. It's just going to take longer to grow through. But if you've got a really big dip, I would actually dig out, say it's like the size of this wheelbarrow, I'd actually dig out a few squares of that lawn. Put the soil in, put the lawn at your new level, because it'll grow across so much quicker. If you had a big dip like this, the grass would actually have to grow across, not up. You'd be smothering it too much. And so it's just one thing to make your recovery a little bit quicker. And there's like nothing stopping you to doing that. You've already got the shovel out. It really doesn't take much time.
Even dig up your own little turf slab sort of thing.
So your own turf farm.
So in terms of how much to order, the broad sort of figure that people give is 1 cubic metre per 100 square metres. I reckon that's pretty good for most of the time if you've got a fairly uneven lawn. Also, obviously, if you've aerated. So extreme situations, you could go up to, say, 1.1 cube per 100. But generally, if your lawn's like pretty level, you can probably come back to, you know, and even if you haven't aerated as well and opened up space to be putting soil or sand into those holes, you can probably come down to 3/4 or even half a cube per 100. Like my next top dress out here, like I said, will be about that. About that half a cube per 100 sort of range. So I think in general it's probably better to err on the side of not going as heavy. It's probably better if you're just getting into it of erring on the side of not scalping and scarifying as low.
You can always put more on.
Yeah, and it's all just kind of experience and stuff as well, you know, whether it's for clients, whether it's for yourself, like erring on the side of not going as hard, not top dressing as heavy, just means it's probably going to recover a bit quicker, and you can bank that experience. You can watch it grow back through and go, oh, I didn't die. I can, you know, go a bit harder next time.
Well, I think we've covered this pretty well, because we've got like, again, if I'm going to summarize things really quickly, thatch builds up, we want to get rid of it, we've got to cut it out. So we're doing that with our scalping and our scarifying and our verticutting, or whatever term you want to use. We can then aerate. Maybe it's not so important if your soil's pretty good. Maybe you need to do it a lot. You guys can work it out. And then you're going to top dress with something that complements or helps fix the problem areas that you've always got. And you reckon a sandy loam is pretty good across the board.
I feel like it's the safest advice to give out there for most situations.
So once you're dumbing down like that, it's actually not that complicated, right? People, if they've gotten to a point where it's like, I'd love to do it, I got a quote, I can't afford it, you know, as a contractor, do it yourself. I love seeing people do it. You probably could do it. You probably could get something off Facebook Marketplace if you're you know, diligent like that and it's something you're interested in doing. The one thing we haven't talked about is how do we get it to grow back really well now, which is obviously fertilizing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that can come with fertilizing beforehand, 2-3 weeks beforehand, depending on just your time frame. But yeah, do you like to fertilize, like do your granular and your spraying after coring or after top dressing?
We do it.
Preference.
So I've heard if you have some leaf on left, I've heard of guys who have rubbed fertilizer on the leaf accidentally as they're top dressing with spreading with this, and it's damaged the leaf.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of the time, if you've done your verti, you've gotten rid of it. I like doing it at the end because I'm just a little bit nervous that I'm going to be pushing the fertilizer unevenly, and I like to see what I've done, spreading it out with a. Usually, we just use little Ryobi handheld ones, even commercially. They're so good. So handy. But yeah, that's what we do. And we're also putting down a lot of wetting agents. That's like absolutely necessary in Perth.
Yeah, 100%.
All the wetting agents are being put down, whatever application rate it says, a little bit more, you know, just in WA conditions, just in case. But what fertilizer are you using?
So I use Ben's.
Do you want to have a look at it?
I don't have any at the moment.
Nah.
I've got some liquids. I'm waiting for some granular to turn up.
We
But
let you down,
I like to. So I'm using lawn tips products. So yeah, enjoy that stuff. So I like to do on my back lawn because I've got to put so many, like when I'm using my walk behind sprayer, when I'm walking across with a spreader with the wheels on it, like I'm just gonna, if I do it after top dressing, it just frustrate me too much to have footprints and marks all over the place. So I like to finish coring, then do all of my product applications, then spread it on and then water it in. And because it's, you know, each part of this process takes a day or two, the scalp will take, you know, kind of 2 days and then etc. So I kind of like to do it, put it all down, water it in, and then sort of the next day is like my top dressing day or a couple of days later or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy to do it that way. My front lawn though, because I can walk around the outside on the paths and the driveway and stuff, I can apply stuff, obviously not spray, I can spread from the outside. I don't have to walk on it, and I'm kind of like not as anal about that. But yeah, I don't mind applying. Either's fine. I think the general consensus is do it after, do it during, whatever. It's gonna still get down into the soil. I think it's a personal thing. Like if you just feel more comfortable about doing afterwards because whatever, cool.
But we're also, as a like professional group, we're getting in and out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And so we, like to do the idea of doing a lawn renovation over multiple days, like, is a scheduling nightmare. So we want to get this done in 4 hours. There's multiple of us here. We go hard. Yep. See you later. You know,
you finish doing that. You finish spreading and spraying.
You're on this.
While
You're
I
on
go
this.
to the next
You're
job.
on this. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
While I head to the KFC drive-through. You know, and watch Instagram reels.
Well, like, you know, from doing a Fremo Friday with Tim, like, it's, especially when you're recording so much of it, it's not the most efficient process generally.
It's definitely not.
It's, you know, do everything, record, talk to the camera, blah, blah, blah. So it's not always, the most sort of efficient process. But then...
With Ben's fertilizer, getting practical, do you remember what he does? Which one is best for it, sorry? The name of it? Or should just people just message him?
So I typically, he's got Dominate, which is a high nitrogen. So I like to kick off my spring with that. And yeah, I've found, so I'm going to do that probably, start of September. So in a week or two. And then Proliferate is a bit more balance of nutrients in there, and he's also got Reinstate, which is, a bit more balance, kind of reno time, seeding time, maintenance sort of fertilizers. So I'll probably put out, Dominate at the start. Probably during my reno, I'll probably put out a little bit lower rate, but just to kind of overlap that start of spring application without trying to over fertilize during the season, but then get another one to sort of overlap into the season, and then from there every sort of 10 to 12 weeks be using my granulars as well as my liquids, my lawn tips mix every sort of 5 to 6 weeks will be my kind of general maintenance schedule. And then just the watering part's probably all that's left to cover, isn't it?
Yeah, so you've got irrigation here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the easiest thing in WA is that we don't get rain in the growing season all that much. We have to irrigate, absolutely have to irrigate.
Yeah.
Some places maybe not so much. So what do you think about that?
So I guess that's something in general. So that's something that I talk about. So I've got a lawn renovation guide, and that's something before, like, when you run through it, you're like, oh, your scalp, your scarifier. There's just so many little questions that people have. I think it's like 32 pages or something. My reno
Well,
guide.
I was going to plug it because I was like, we cannot cover.
Yeah.
This again would be 6 hours. I do have a flight to get to.
Yeah, because then again, like, you come to as well, like waste removal. You know, that's a part to consider. So,
well, quickly, would you hire a trailer or get a skip?
Well, I think generally hiring a trailer and taking it to the tip yourself. It depends where you are, like, price it up. And that's something in your planning. It's something that's in my reno guide, is that planning, you know, of how you're going to get rid of your waste, you know, where you're going to hire from, lining up even mates, like, you know, get a mate to come and help you with the scalp. You know, you can kind of interchange mowers at the same time and try and be more efficient. You come and do my joint one weekend, and then we'll do yours the next, and we'll get the corer and, you know, work it all in together. So it's just, something to plan for. But what am I coming back to? Am I coming back to watering or waste removal? I think watering was the initial question.
Well, I think I'll just sum up waste removal really quickly.
Sure.
I reckon you've got a small yard, right? Well, firstly, you're not going to be able to do it with your green waste bin, right? It's a hell of a lot of area, a lot of waste. So you've got to do a trailer, you've got to do a skip bin. My preference would be, if I'm hiring everything, right, I just get a skip bin, because you don't realise how long it takes to empty it out, and you may run out of time with your hire equipment.
Yeah, true.
But if you've got a trailer, you go for it.
Do you know what you say about the bin? at our old place, the old lady next door would never really fill up her green bin, so I sort of always had two, which was handy. And I just made a pile in the yard. I had a spot that was sort of off to the side out the way, so I just put tarps there, emptied all my waste onto there, and it probably took 3 months to gradually just, you know, add a bit in, add a bit in, add a bit in. It was gone eventually, just in time for the next reno probably, but
wait for the next green waste day and fill every one of your
Yeah,
neighbours'
yeah.
bins up down the street.
just door knock and hey, can I borrow your bin?
Well, what you should definitely not do is throw it over that fence over there.
Let's not talk about that
What?
in case the council's watching.
Huh?
Yeah, that was
Did
good.
no, that didn't happen.
That did, don't, let's not talk about that. But yeah, so waste removal, back to watering. So yeah, obviously having irrigation is amazing, because you want to be, if you can, water 2-3 times a day to keep it consistently damp is ideal. So for me, being able to program irrigation compared to my first reno when I was setting up sprinklers, coming out here a couple of times a day and moving them around on such a big spot, if you can just get, like, if you've just got a square yard and you can set up one oscillating sprinkler and just to have one tap to turn off and on in the morning when you're getting ready for work, maybe a tap timer at lunchtime, like that is ideal.
Definitely a tap timer.
But otherwise, yeah, it's, if you've got odd shapes and big space, it can be a bit annoying. So irrigation in that sense, it's an investment that's worth making. But yeah, and then you just slowly, you know, basically at sort of a month post-reno, you're looking at 100% recovery, watering twice a week, once or twice a week. And in initial recovery, the day of reno, the day after, you're looking at 3-ish times a day, depending on the temperatures. 3-ish light waters a day. So 3 a day, 2 a day, 1 a day, once every 2 days, once every 3 days, and kind of every 4 or 5 days, you're probably backing it off. But of course, you know, then you'll get an extreme temperature day in there, you'll get 20 mil of rain. So you've just got to adapt on the fly and just understand that the goal at the start is to keep it pretty damp. The goal at the end is to be watering once or twice a week deeply for a nice healthy lawn. So yeah.
I reckon we could nerd out on this even more. But if I was to summarise everything, you got to get rid of that thatch. That's what we're doing. Gives you a much nicer finish. Aerating helps your roots, helps a lot of other things, and then your top dressing, make it level, help your soil quality, and doing that about once a year is going to make such a big difference to everything else that goes on beyond that. Good quality fertilizer at the end, good quality watering routine, and you can look almost as good as Lawns and Good Nick.
Yeah, just without the frost burn and stuff we're
And
dealing
the
with at the
mycelium.
moment. But yeah, so I mean, reno season across the country, so south, like some of the more tropical areas are probably getting into it already. I reckon Trav at the Lawn Lab starts reno sort of late August.
I don't think it ever stops.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. And yeah, sort of then, you know, as each kind of couple of weeks go by, the reno window just moves further and further south, down to Sydney, down to Victoria, down to Tasmania. So
Tasmania has 2.5 days that they have available.
we actually went on holiday to Tasmania at New Year's time and went straight to the Kathmandu shop on the second day.
Oh, what?
Freezing. On like the 27th of December. Freezing. But anyway, yeah, reno time, it's exciting. There's always heaps of questions. So yeah, there's any of us guys who are making content are always putting out plenty about it. So take bits and pieces from here and there, troubleshoot, try different machines, try different things with it. And yeah, basically don't stress too much, because 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you're going to have a buffalo or a cooch lawn somewhere in Australia that you can't kill. So you'll be right.
You'll get it there.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Beautiful.
Hopefully it helps a couple of people. If you did enjoy it, put a comment down below. And I'm going to tag you in this.
Yep.
Yeah, YouTube has like a collaborator thing now, like Instagram does.
Sweet. There you go.
It just came out a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to do this with collaborate with you. So
Mate.
go follow Nick if you haven't before. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Thanks for the Pepsi Max.